Hi everyone, welcome you all. This is Pawan. So nowadays I'm getting a lot of emails from our students and from our subscribers. They're basically asking one common question, like how we can shift to IT career or the software testing career with our gap. So many people are having a career gap of 2 years or 4 years, 5 years, and sometimes some people are having more than 5 years of their career gap. And with that gap, they enter into the software sector or IT career or software testing career. And if you want to start a career in software testing with that gap, right, how we can manage it, how we can tackle the career gap. So these are the common questions people are having in their mind. So in this video especially, I'm going to address all those questions, and at the end of the video you will get more clarity, and also I'm going to provide you some tips to improve yourself. All right, so first of all, let us see here. I have divided the people into four different categories. People are having 0 to 3 years of gap, and people are having 4 to 5 years of gap, and also people are having 6 to 10 years of gap. So there, and finally 10 plus years of gap. So totally I have divided people into four different categories: 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let us look at one by one. So when I take people from 0 to 3 years gap, suppose if you are recently coming up from college and recently have completed your graduation or whatever academic study, so you will be considered as a fresher. So you don't have any restrictions. You can just learn. So you can do some courses or do some kind of certifications and project, and then you can directly apply for the software testing job as a fresher. And the first priority always given to the freshers who don't have any kind of experience. Always the companies are conducting interviews and they call freshers every year. And once they fill the positions, and then next priority will be given to the people who are having 1 and 2 and 3 years of gap. So there are some chances are there. So even though if you have 1, 2, 3 years of gap, so still some companies are preferring them as a freshers, and they can call you based upon your skill set. So if you are good in your skill set, and if you have done some project kind of certifications, if you showcase in your resume, definitely will get a call. And there is a chance of getting a software testing job, even though if you have a gap between 0 to 3 years. And you no need to showcase any kind of experience, or you no need to go beyond that. So you can just learn the subject very well and be strong in the subject, and if possible do some kind of project, because that will give you real exposure. And if possible do some kind of certifications, and that will help you to get a career in software testing. And now the next level is 4 to 5 years of experience, guys. 4 to 5 years, sorry, 4 to 5 years gap. So people are having 4 to 5 years gap is very huge actually, but still these people can also try in software testing and also in other domains in IT. And if you want to start a career in software testing especially, I can give you some suggestions here. And if you are able to follow them, you can get a job in software testing especially. So if you people are having 4 to 5 years gap, it is very very huge, right? And these people will not be considered as a freshers, not at all. So you have to develop a strong skill set. That is the most important thing. Okay, now here I have listed out some of the points. Let's go through them. So people are having 4 to 5 years gap, so you can still learn software testing. First learn software manual testing, and then you can just learn some automation tools and along with some programming language. And after that do some kind of project, which is very very important. Okay, so do some kind of a project, and if possible do some kind of a certifications, because if you have 4 to 5 years of gap, it is very difficult to get a calls also, right? So to shortlist your resume, the certifications are required. Basically the certifications will not project your skills, it will not reflect your skill set, because nowadays people are doing certifications but they don't have a proper skill set. But certification can help you to shortlist your resume. So at that point of view, at that point of level, the certification will be useful for you. Okay, so first learn software testing end to end, like manual testing as well as automation testing. If possible learn web testing as well as API testing. And if possible do some kind of a project. That is very very important. Do some of project, even it is a dummy project, that is a fine, because that will give you some kind of exposure on the project. And if possible do some kind of certification, because that will help you to shortlist your resume if you have gap 4 to 5 years. And in meanwhile, in during 4 to 5 years of gap, if you do some kind of a freelancing work or freelancing experience, you can also project that experience in your resume. And mention all your projects, whatever, even though it is a dummy project, right? So you can still mention that project and you can clearly write your roles and responsibility and specify what kind of certification you have done and what kind of freelancing work you have done, what kind of experience you have. You can clearly mention everything in your resume, because these things will make your resume very stronger. And some people are having non-IT experience. So if you have a non-IT experience, that will not be counted in the gap. Okay, for example, you are working as 1 to 5 years you worked. Okay, let's say you are moving to 6th year. Now here you are trying to shift a gap in a shift to career in IT. So in 1 to 5 years, you don't think this is a gap. Okay, you already have some experience in the non-IT. So you can keep that experience also in the resume, then you can apply for the job. So the non-IT experience, if you have a non-IT experience, don't consider that as a gap. So non-IT experience is also sometimes most important. So you can also keep that experience in your resume and don't count those years. Okay, very, very important point. So if you have a non-IT experience also, you can easily keep in your resume. Okay, so that will make your resume very stronger. So that in interview, they will not be asking any questions about gap. If you don't project your non-IT experience, then definitely they will ask you what you have done exactly during that period of time. So if you want to justify that, so then you can specify non-IT experience so that you can easily justify it. So and so company and so job I have done during that period, like that you can just justify it. So don't forget to specify your projects and certification and the freelancing work. And along with, if you have any non-IT experience, you can also specify in the resume. So don't forget to specify all those things. And most important thing is, during the interview, while attending the interview, if there is any gap in your career, so specify or explain genuine reason. This is most important thing. So explain about genuine reasons for the gap, why you have taken the gap, because of your health issues, or because of your family issues, or because of your any other personal reasons, or because you are traveling, or you are because of your learning something. So there are so many reasons, and before going for an interview, you have to prepare for those reasons. So how we can justify that gap? So put all the points one by one, whichever is familiar, whichever is suitable. You can just tell that particular reason, and which will exactly justify the gap. So this is very, very important. So explain your genuine reason for the gap and clearly tell what you did during the gap in the interview. So even though if you have a gap, you don't need to worry about the gap. Okay, people will take break also sometimes. Even people are working for 5 years. After that, 1 or 2 years, they will take the break. After that, again come back to the career. That is a always common thing. So even though if you have a gap, you don't need to afraid of the gap. So you need to always think about how we can justify the gap. That's the most important thing. Okay, so tell proper reasons, genuine reasons during the interview, so that the interviewer will satisfy with your resume, satisfy with your reason, and then they will proceed further. So some people are asking for projecting some kind of experience, additional experience in resume. So if you have 4 to 5 years of gap, this is very huge gap. Okay, so IT companies will not be consider you if you have this much of gap, but there are special cases are there. If you're very strong in your skills and you have some IT non-IT experience, if you are more interested to work on IT and you have very strong skills, then they will be considered at some times. And some people will try to put some additional experience in your resume, and so that those resume will be shortlisted. Okay, sometimes what happens is, if you have this much of gap, companies will not be shortlisted your resume. Okay, so for that reason, what the people will do is they will add some more experience to the resume so that your resume will be shortlisted. So here you can put up to 2 years of experience. If you have 4 to 5 years of gap, you can keep up to 2 years of experience in manual and automation testing if you can manage it, otherwise not. So this thing I have not recommended, but if you are able to manage well, okay, if you are able to manage well, and if you're very strong in the subject, because only showcasing or you can just projecting the 2 years of experience in your resume, it's not a matter. But after going for an interview, you should justify that experience. So they will definitely ask the questions based upon your experience. So you should be able to answer those questions. So you have to be ready for that. And even after getting the job also, based upon your experience, they will assign the task. Okay, and you have to prepare all for all of them, and then only try to project some kind of experience in the resume. So just putting the experience and selecting the interview is not a big thing. After that, you should able to survive, you should able to sustain in the project, you should able to complete the task, you should able to show the performance. So that is the most important thing. So these things I have not recommended, but still, if some people are feeling like I'm not getting any calls and I have a lot of gap, so if I'm able to manage with this, then you can go with this. Okay, and prepare well according to 2 to 3 years of experience. You have to prepare well and have some kind of real-time scenario. Do some kind of a dummy, even though it is a dummy project, no problem. Do 1 or 2 projects so that you will get some real-time exposure. So you will able to manage in interview. Also, you will able to manage in your project. So if you follow these things, there is a chance of getting a job in software testing career, even though if you have a 4 to 5 years of gap. So especially non-IT people who are having experience in non-IT, they will suffer a lot because non-IT experience also sometimes will be considered. Okay, suppose if you are working on some banking domain earlier, it can be any kind of job. You are working in banking domain. So in the software industry also, different domain related projects will be there. Suppose if you are working on banking, even though it is a non-IT, in software, there will be some banking applications. So this particular domain experience will be useful. Suppose similarly, if you are working on some financial company in the non-IT field and you got a job in the financial domain. So even the software also, there are financial related projects will be there. So this experience will be more useful in this particular domain. So don't forget to specify your non-IT experience, whichever sector, whichever domain it is, no problem. You can just specify the non-IT experience also in your resume. So that is very, very important, and make your resume very stronger with which should include the projects and certification, if possible, freelancing project, along with the non-IT experience. Because you have this much of gap, you need to justify this gap by adding so many skills and so many projects and so much of experience. That's a very, very important. And then only the chances are there to shortlist your resume. All right. So next one, 6 to 10 years of experience. So if you're having more than 6 years gap, not experience, it's a gap. If you have more than 6 years of gap, 6 to less than 10 years. And for these people, again, it is very difficult to getting a job in software testing or development. So these kind of people, they can focus on some other tools or some other domains instead of focusing on software testing. Okay, because 6 to 10 is a very huge gap. And maybe these people are having non-IT experience, and these people may have some lot of gap without any experience. So different type of people will be there. So if you have a 6 years to less than 10 years, but still you can shift to IT career, but not software testing or development. Okay, you can try in some other domains in the same IT sector. There are some other options also available. So you can focus more on RPA tools, and you can learn BI tools. Okay, business intelligence, remote process automation tools, and there is some other tools which are having no coding tools, like Tosca is also there, which is all-round tool by which we can do all kinds of testing. So you can focus more on the different tools, not on dev or QA side. If you want to go as a dev or QA, you have to learn so many technologies. But if you want to go as a IT guy or IT employee, right? So not exactly software testing and development. So then you can learn these tools, and specifically you will get a job in these particular tools. So if you have a more gap, like more than 5 years, 6 to 10 years of gap, instead of learning software testing and automation, all those things, you can more focus on these particular tools, and that will help you a lot. And if possible, again, do the certification. Because why I'm focusing on certification, because people are having this much of gap, it is very difficult to shortlist your resumes. So if you do certain certification, some kind of certification, if you specify that certification in your resume, then only your resume will be stronger, and then your resume will be shortlisted. So certification plays very, very important role, but it will not reflect your real skills. Okay, you have to showcase your skills only during the interview. Okay, your certification will not tell your skill set. It is just for filtering your resume, shortlisting your resume. Okay, remember that. And any freelancing work experience, if you have, you can keep that, whatever it is, even though it's a small work, or you work for 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, whatever it is, you can just look at your previous experiences, all the years, think about them, and keep some kind of freelancing experience, whichever domain it is, whichever task it is, or whichever work it is, doesn't matter. You can specify some kind of a freelancing experience. Along with them, you can also specify or mention your project, certifications, freelance experience, everything in your resume, so that your resume will be stronger. And especially these people, if you focus on these tools, the companies don't care about your academic background or your gaps and all those things, because nowadays many people are learning these tools and they are getting a lot of jobs easily. And even learning these tools are so easy, and you will not take much time. If you spend 1 or 2 months, you can easily learn those tools, and you don't need to focus on any other technologies or any other tool. So that these people, instead of focusing on software testing or development, better to focus on some other type of tools and the same IT industry. Okay, so if your ultimate goal is to get a job in IT industry, which can be any domain, is fine, right? But if you want to start getting only software testing and development, there should be some criteria. So accordingly, you have to choose a career. But if you want to work on any other domain in IT industry, finally, you can choose any other domains. So these are the suggestible ones. So if you have 6 to less than 10 years, even Tosca also, automation tool, Tosca also can do the testing, and even RPL also can do the testing. BI is completely different, which is basically related to business intelligence and analytics. So if you have a data related skills, data analytics skills, then you can go with this one. Okay. So specify all your projects, certifications, and freelancing experience in resume. So, and here also don't forget to specify non-IT experience. If you have, you can specify that experience. But if you have a 10 plus years of experience, 10 plus years of gap, so this is very difficult to get an ID. Okay, because 10 plus years is a very, very huge gap. Right? Even though if you have a non-IT experience, but still it is very, very difficult. Instead of trying in IT job, you can choose some other sector to get it. Okay, so because unnecessarily, do not waste your time and don't waste your money and time and everything on IT sector. If you have more than 10 years of gap, okay, even though if you have non-IT, okay, don't consider them, because the gap is very, very high. 10 plus years of gap is very huge. So many times, many companies will not be consider these kind of a profile. So you can better to go with some other kind of domain or some other kind of field instead of going for IT sector. But if you have some previous IT experience, there is a different thing. Okay, even if you have IT experience, at least 3 to 4, 5 years of IT experience, previously you have some IT experience, and after that you got some gap, 4 to 5 years gap, that is okay. But completely you have a career gap, you haven't have any experience except the non-IT. So 10 plus years of gap is not eligible. So they cannot filter your resume, they cannot shortlist your resume. So instead of trying the job in IT or software testing sector, you can try in some other domain, some other field. Okay, so remember all these points. Accordingly, we can just prepare for software testing career. So now here I'm going to provide you some important tips, and so if you follow those tips, so definitely you will grow in your career, and definitely you will get a job. Because why people are having this much of gap? Because of their negligence. Okay, nowadays many people, from 100 to 70 to 80% of the people, they are not having proper clarity on their career. So based upon the situations, based upon the influences, based upon the demand, they are choosing the career, but they are not considering whether that career is suitable for them or also not. Only people are running out from because of money. So whichever field is giving more money, they are interested on, whether that is suitable to them or not, whether they are able to manage that or not. They are not thinking about all those things. So before choosing the career, we have to do a lot of analysis. So a lot of research, whether we have a passion or not on that particular career. So without having any career guidance, blindly they are choosing the career and learning something and getting the job. Even getting the job is becoming very, very difficult. Even though if you are getting the job, you are not able to sustain in the job. People are, so many people, they are already getting the job, they are already got the job, but still they are suffering a lot in their jobs. So these many people are there in the market. So what is the main reason all these things behind that is because at the time of choosing your career, you are not more focusing on them. You are just considering external factors. You are not considering your passion. You are not considering your own factors. So that is the biggest problem. So that is a reason you are getting this much of gap. So some people are worrying a lot because they are not getting the call. Some people are worrying a lot because they are not getting the job. Some people are worrying a lot because they got a job, but they are not able to perform well. They are not able to perform well. So these many people are there in the market. The main reason behind that is the career guidance option is missing. So they are not getting any career guidance. They are choosing their career their own. They are not considering the right factors at the time of choosing the career. Okay, so now here I'm providing you proper tips, and if you follow these tips, you will able to choose the right career, and even if you're there in particular job, you will able to grow further. So now let me just share some of the important tips here. So there are total 6 tips I have written. So let me just go through one by one. So the first and most important tip is learn something new every day if you get some time. So many people are having a lot of gaps because of reason is they are basically simply wasting the time. So see, if I ask anything, suppose that guy is having some gap. If I ask that guy why you have this much of gap, so he cannot justify that gap. Many people cannot justify their gaps. Why? Because they unnecessarily wasted their time. Unnecessarily they have wasted so many months and years. So because of that reason, they will not able to justify the gap also. So that is a problem. Why that problems come? Because they are wasting the time a lot. So every day, whenever you get some time, learn something every day new which is related to your career, which will very useful to your career. So make this point as a habit. So that's the first point. Learn something new every day if you get some time, and do not waste the time unnecessarily, because in future you will suffer a lot. So you will in future you will definitely suffer a lot because of wasting the time. So people are having this much of gap, basically they are wasting the time. Maybe some people are having proper reasons, but many of the percentage of the people are just blindly wasting the time. Maybe after completing the academic study, after coming out from the job, after coming out from the college. So during the time they have wasted a lot of time, and now those people are suffering because of the gap. So learn something new every day if you get any time. So, but do not waste the time. That's my first tip. Now the second tip is, so try to do some dummy projects once you learn the concept, which is very important, guys. So many people will do some kind of course. Many people will learn the concepts, but they don't have any real-time exposure. They don't know exactly how these concepts will be implemented in the real-time projects. That is very important. So whenever you do something, whenever you learn something, use it practically in the project. Okay, it can be dummy project. So in the web, in internet, you can find so many dummy projects. So project in the sense, you don't need to go in the company, you don't need to sit in the real-time environment. So whatever applications are running in the production and through internet, everything is a production application only. So you can take any type of application and you can try to find out the test cases. You can try to automate that application so that it will give you more exposure to you. So that will give you some kind of experience also. It is very important. So theoretical knowledge is not that much important. Practical knowledge is important to get the knowledge. So try to do some kind of a project, and whatever the concepts you have learned, utilize or use those concepts in those projects. Then you will get the real-time exposure, which is very important point. And then before shifting to the IT job, many people are interested, but they don't know exactly why they are interested. So many people are looking for only money. So that is not exact reason to shift to IT job. Okay, so you have to consider so many other factors. So before shifting to IT job, do some kind of analysis or research on the job, like what kind of job it is, how the responsibilities will be there, and what is the work style in the real time. You should do some kind of research analysis on the job. So software testing means everybody is ready to shift their career to software testing, but many people don't know what is software testing, how software testing job will be, what are the challenges we need to face, what is the day-to-day life. Okay, so these things they will not be aware of. Only they are always thinking about the money and good package, good salary, that's it. So even though if you're getting the job, it is very important to sustain in the job for the long time. So for that, you need to do a lot of research analysis before getting into the IT job. So which is very important. So many people are missing this point. So before shifting to IT job, do some kind of analysis, research, and what kind of responsibilities will be there, what we have to do in that project, what is the working style in the real time. So when you do this kind of a research, definitely you will get a lot of clarity, and that clarity will help you to choose a right career. Because without knowing anything, just blindly apply for the job, blindly getting the job. After that, you will suffer. If it is not suitable for your mindset, definitely you will start suffering with that job, right? So before that, you need to do some kind of analysis, do some kind of end-to-end research, and then choose the career in the right way. And because in previously, if you are not following these particular points, that is the reason nowadays people are suffering, right? So because of lacking the proper guidance, career guidance. So before choosing any career, you have to follow certain guidelines, whether it is suitable for you or not, is it whether it is passionate to you or not, you need to consider them. So that's the first, third point, guys. So before choosing an IT job, do some kind of analysis, research on that. Then you will get more clarity on that. The next point is what? Do not influenced by anyone. So this is a common thing every time, everywhere will happen, guys. So do not influenced by anyone. So like your friend is learned something and he got a job. So don't think you will also learn, you will get the job. Okay, it will different from one person to another person. So don't influenced by anyone like friends or relatives, especially while you are choosing your career. So career option is completely your personal, your interest, your passion. It depends upon your interest, your passion, and you should not take the should not take the anyone opinions here. So your opinion completely should matter here. So how much, whether you are interested or not, whether you are passionate on the job or not, okay, and once you get a job, you will able to do the job or not from the long time. So you yourself should decide your career option. So nobody should decide it. So you can take the suggestions from others, but should not influenced by the others. That's a very important. So many people do this mistake. So if 10 people or 20 people are going in one way and that guy also go in the same, that's not the correct way of doing. So the career option should completely your personal, your choice. Okay. And the next point is what? Do not prepare for an interview, instead prepare for the job. This is another mistake many people are doing nowadays. From 100 to 90% of the people are just preparing for an interview. So like interview questions and resume preparation, that's it. So whatever the questions are asked in interview, you will prepare and clear that interview. Only people are focusing only on the interview. And this is again biggest problem. So you will able to clear the interview, but after that, what happens once you join in the project, once you join in the company, you will not able to perform well. That is becomes again biggest problem for you. So at the time of learning and practice also, your focus should be on the job, not on the interview. So don't prepare anything for an interview, guys. Interview preparation is just a small thing. If you know subject very stronger, so you will able to answer anything. For that reason, you no need to prepare special kind of interview questions and answers. So who will prepare interview questions and answers is, if you don't have a strongness or if you don't have much knowledge in the subject, then you will prepare the interview questions and prepare. Because here we are not preparing for examination, or this is not an academic study. Please remember that. Okay. So if it is an examination or any certification, or if it is an academic study, we will just choose or pick up some important questions and answers. We will prepare and write an exam and we will pass it. There's a different way of preparation. But here we are preparing for the job, not for the interview. If you prepare for only interview, you will not able to do the job later. But if you are prepared for the job, definitely you will able to prepare for the interview. You will able to clear the interview. So please keep this point in your mind. And whenever you prepare or learn or practice something, always focus only on the job. What is the real-time requirement? What could be there in the project? How we can handle, how we can solve the challenge. So these things should be there in your mind, but not interview. So you should also prepare for interview, but at the last minute, at the last time. First you need to learn, then you have to practice, then you have to do some project. And after that, before going for interview, you can prepare just very high level interview questions. Okay. So getting the job is okay, but sustaining in the job is very important. So if you are prepared only for interview, you will be able to clear the interview, but you cannot sustain in the job. But if you are prepared for a job, then you will be able to sustain for the long time. That is most important, because nowadays so many people are struggling a lot. They are already cleared the interviews, many rounds are happened, they have cleared the interviews, but still they are struggling to do the job. And they are looking for some alternatives again. So it should not be happen like this. That's the fifth point. And one last point is, do not change your career very frequently. So this is again one more common mistake many people are doing. and don't change your career very frequently. They will start a career in one field, they will be there another 3 months or 6 months, they will not get anything out of it, then again immediately they will change career in another field. So like this, they will keep on changing the one field to another field, one field to another field, and a lot of time will be wasted. So if you choose career properly, or if you choose right career, stick to that at least 1 year. So at least 1 year, stick to that and try whatever ways are there. So do not change the goal. Okay, don't change your strategy of preparation. So your goal is what? You need to get a job in software testing or IT or automation. That's your goal. You should not change that goal. And the way of preparation, the way of approach for interview, the way of preparation, way of learning. So these are all different strategies you can change, but you should not change our goal. That is very, very important. But many people, they keep on changing the goal. Just they do not have proper patience. So that is the main problem. So if you want to get something, you should have patience. You need to wait for that. So at least 1 year, you can just have some goal and prepare well, then master in that particular subject, definitely you will get a job. That's very, very important. If you keep changing one career to another career, that will not be useful for you. And do some groundwork and choose right career which is suitable for your mindset and passionate. So this is the last point, which is very, very important. Whenever you choose a career, don't think about money, don't think about demand. Okay, always think about whether you have passion on that or not, whether you are able to do that or not. Okay, that's very, very important. And your mindset is suitable for the job or not, because nowadays many people are doing the IT jobs, but they are not happy with those jobs because their mindset is completely different. Whatever the job they are doing is completely different. There is no matching with them. So because of the reason, just for the sake of doing, they are doing it. That's it. So if you do the job like this, you will not able to perform well and you will not able to get good appraisals. That's a very, very most important thing. So if you have a passion on that, you will able to do this and you will give the best results out of it. So please keep all these points in your mind and accordingly do some kind of analysis, do some kind of research and get the guidance of senior people, and then choose the right career in the right time. Because the career is very, very important. That's the backbone of the entire life. The entire life and personal life, financial, everything is depend on your career only. So if you are not choosing the career well, so everything will be impacted. So which is very, very important. So please keep all these points in your mind and try to choose a right career. So I hope this video has helped you a lot. So we'll see in the next video with the next concept. So thanks for watching.